This episode was recorded while Sky was a part of the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast. She has since started her own podcast, which can be found on Instagram at Beats and Brews Pod. We wish her the best of luck in this new venture.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sky, and today with me is FRND CRCL. Welcome to the Soundtrack of Our Lives. They will be talking to us about their coming album and their journey so far as a group. So, welcome to the Soundtrack of Our Lives, and it's a pleasure to have you here with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so to start off, do you guys want to tell us a little bit, your personal story with music and how the band came to be?
Yeah, I mean, music's always been a big part of my life. And then, as well as my brother Nick's. And he just kind of joined the band last year. And Aaron and I have been making music since 2015. Feels like everything kind of came together at a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think me and Zach, we met at our local community college in one of our courses. And, he sought after me. He heard I played drums and he hunted me down, so to say. It's been going well ever since, apparently. I mean, we've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now. So, yeah, it's nothing but a good time, honestly.
Okay. So what can you guys tell us about your coming album that is set to release on June 30th? And which song from the album are you particularly proud of?
I'm really proud of the song Don't Wait Up. It hasn't been out yet, but I mean, I think it's the coolest thing we've done so far. It's just got a lot of energy. I was actually listening to it before this. I'm getting ready for it to come out. So I'm excited. I think the album itself has a lot of energy.
Is the song coming out before the album, or is it just going to be released with the album?
No, this one's coming out with the album.
Okay. Do you guys have the same song, or do you have any different?
For me, we actually have a song called it. I wouldn't say this is my favorite song, but
Okay.
I'm proud of it. The song's called When You're Not With Me. I'm proud of it because this song we've had it in our back pocket for a while now. It's gone through, a few different versions. I don't know. I forget. Zach showed me this song maybe 3 or so years ago, and we were debating on, if we should release it, if we shouldn't. And, luckily it turned out great in the studio. So I'm proud of it for, making the cut for the album.
Nice. Yeah, so my favorite is a yet unreleased track called No Bad Days. And it's my favorite because it's the album opener. I love what it's doing musically. I think it makes a bold statement. And it's the first song that I ever played live at my first show with FRND CRCL, which was 12 shows ago at this point. So I guess it has a special place in my heart.
Claps for that one, man. I can't believe it's been 12 shows already.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great. So regarding the creation process, how long did this album take to complete, and what was the most challenging aspect of the process?
I feel like this song, this was our album that was written during the pandemic.
Okay.
I think that was a challenge in itself, but on the other side of it, we had a bunch of songs, and then we were trying to decide how do we do this, and that was the most challenging part. Was I would say just going to a different state, because we recorded in Nashville at Hilson House Studios with our buddy Tyler, who's done previous FRND CRCL work, and that was kind of a risk, I guess, in itself. It was difficult to travel and record, but at the same time, a cool experience to get outside of the everyday comfort zones that we know and just, go out and record.
So you said you guys started working on this album during the pandemic. Did you guys know that you were writing the music for this album, or were you guys just writing music and trying to put things together when everything happened?
It was a little bit of both, I think. We had a few songs, and then I started writing all these other songs and bringing them to the guys. Aaron started bringing me ideas, and I think we ultimately decided it was time to just make another album.
Okay, that makes sense. And so how do you guys decide where to begin when it comes to creating a new album? I don't know, do you guys are all sitting together in one space and hey, we've been just, playing with this around, or you guys have lyrics? How does that work?
The usual process, Zach usually has a good, batch of songs that he brings the structure to us, whether it's at practice or whether it's through, demos that he just sends us, And he has the structure down for the most part, and then he allows us to have our creativity to it, add our flair and touches to it. And I think there's a couple songs on this upcoming album that were written, just to start off at practice. So it's a few different ways that these Suburban Dictionary songs have been written.
Yeah, I feel like we poured over them live together to make sure, like, okay, all these pieces fit. And then, like, even like when we write songs now, I feel like I like when we tackle it live as a band, and then like we kind of start demoing it out later. So that was like another byproduct of the pandemic, like just having a bunch of songs demoed out and then practicing them later.
Okay, interesting. So how does the sound from this album compare to the previous two, and what is different?
That's a good question. I think it's like what I wanted the first album to sound like, only better. I guess like production wise and like lyrically and sonically, instrumentally. It feels like a stepping stone in a direction where like the songwriting can go in a better, I guess, like to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always trying to like improve upon that. And I know we're always as a band trying to improve upon that. So I think it's like an appropriate step, especially like coming from where we did as a band and just like getting to the next space.
Yeah, compared to Internet Noise, it's like the songwriting is like really focused on achieving what the vision is for the record. Like, a band that was a 4-piece before, with like 2 lead guitarists, whereas now, I mean, Zach does a great job of writing multiple guitar parts that are kind of layered on top of each other and recorded that way as well. So where Internet Noise has some more, I feel like the album has parts that are challenging to listen to. It's great, and it does a lot of interesting things musically, and I feel like this songwriting is kind of focused in like a different direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's just my take on it.
Yeah. So your music, I've been listening to it. I enjoy it. I think it's great. Yeah. I was actually also like listening before we started, and I didn't even realize you guys already were waiting. And I was just like vibing with the music. And then I was like, oh my God, there's like 5 people waiting or something. I was just like, oh my God.
We're the type of band not to usually show up on time, but we wanted to make sure we were here right on time for you today.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the times people don't show up on time. Sometimes people forget. So I was just like, I'm just going to listen to music, blah, blah, blah. And then I get distracted and forget that people are like waiting. So, like your music evokes a lot of nostalgia from like the 2000s, maybe 2010s, like early 2010s. So was this something you guys decided like, hey, we want to sound like this, or did it just kind of like happen?
I feel like sometimes I am conscious of it and sometimes I'm not conscious of it. Like one of the new songs, Orange Tang, on the album, I feel like is our most modern sounding song as far as like the production and stuff. So I know when we went in the studio, like when I sat down with Tyler, like this song is going to take a while to do guitars on because like there's going to be a lot of stuff that's different. Whereas like I feel like with the early 2000s sound, it's pretty linear of a structure.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I'm going to do this guitar and then this guitar and then the song's done.
Yeah.
And that song was a lot different. So I feel like if there's any step into like the next direction for us, it's going to be more towards that more modernized style.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I know what me and Zach grew up on, and Nick a bit as well. It's like we grew up on that early 2000 sound and we enjoy it. So it'll just come out that way. And obviously we try to put our twist on it, to bring something new, something fresh to the table. It's hard to, when it's built inside you. We love that punk rock sound. It comes easy to us.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like the flip side of that too is that like in my mind, I'm like, would this album be too ahead of its time for like the 1997, 98, 99 pop punk rock sound? Like, because I feel like it would have like sold so many CDs, like as opposed to like streaming or whatever. But that's just a random thought that I had.
That's so true though.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about having kind of like the early 2000s kind of like coming back in a sense, and like even like music and TV series adaptations and all that? Do you guys personally feel like it's a good thing that like the sound is coming back, or is it kind of just like people are taking advantage of that nostalgia that people had from before?
I'm sure it's a little of both. I was pretty stoked when it started coming back. I was like, okay, this feels like a good time for us.
Yeah.
And then like I see things like that 90s show that came out and like I didn't watch it. And there's like a part of me that's like, maybe we should just let things stay back where they are.
Yeah.
as like a timepiece. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean, there's good and bad to it. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I'm here to do what makes sense to me, I guess.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
To an extent, I ask myself, like, that's how the whole industry of all entertainment works, isn't it? In some aspect, it's like,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
7 to 10 years, it's like, you always want to try to capture things that are the best part of what was culturally defining of this decade. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say so too. I mean, as a young musician, all of that 1990s, 2000s was super influential in everything I worked on, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you enjoy the sound, when you enjoy that type of music, it's obviously, it feels good, being able to still enjoy that sound and everything. But then I also think about like in the future, I don't know, 20 years or something, and you're trying to show music from this year. And it's like, oh, well, it kind of sounds like it sounded in the early 2000s. So
yeah,
I kind of have that conflict of what is the sound of the 2020, 21, 20. Like what would this sound like in 20 years if a lot of people are making it sound like it sounded like 20 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good point.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now you're asking the good questions. I don't know.
Right. In 20 years, it might all be generated by an AI deep composer or something, That's
Yeah.
So true.
I mean, I feel to like that to an extent, there's only so much that AI can do, or at least right now, because you can hear those covers and then they sound like similar to certain person, but then there's something missing. And it's the same, like, you can create music with virtual instruments and you can work a lot on them, but depending on the genre, there's only so much that you can do to make it sound real. So I don't know. We'll see in 20 years where we are.
We'll do another podcast in 20 years.
In 20 years. So is there anything from the 2010s that you guys wish hadn't changed? And is there something you guys wish that hadn't come back?
I wish Warped Tour was still around, because that was like always my dream to play Warped Tour, and then the last one was 2018.
I agree with that one. My dream was be able to go. I never got to go. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I only went like a few times, but
yeah. I mean, I miss iPods. The iPod Mini was a great release, like the 2000, mid 2000s version, just a tiny little rectangle that could hold tons of music, and now we just have these different rectangles that do everything. And I'll say I miss it.
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards Zach's answer as well. And Warped Tour, how it gave a lot of, punk rock bands an opportunity to make a name for themselves. I kind of wish that was still around nowadays.
I miss MySpace. What a time to be alive.
You think anybody would have us in their top 8 songs or whatever?
We would be on somebody's profile for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if there's publicity to your music on Spotify, back then
True.
A lot of people will be listening to you as well. So, okay. So what are your thoughts on the state of the pop punk scene today? Is it alive as it was before, or?
Yeah, I think it's just different.
Very much alive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just changing always, and it feels like it moves so fast anymore. Like I remember, like in the maybe it still is. I remember when hip hop was like a really fast genre for me. Like artists were putting out new songs all the time. This is like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Artists are dropping new songs every week, and it was like, oh, this song's old after like a month. And it feels like it's kind of like that with pop punk now. Like so many good bands are out there putting out bangers. It's like you put out a song and then it's like, oh, when's the next song come out? It's like, geez, we just put out a song. Like, go listen to that one 20 more times for us, and then we'll put out another one.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of really talented people out in this space trying to create all kinds of art, and like pop punk is almost like not even enough of like a catch-all term, because I mean, we just played with a band that instead of like a bassist or second guitarist had a cello player, and they were like amazing. I was like, it was a 3-piece of really talented musicians. And we played with a band several months ago who just said, we'll call ourselves Adult Contemporary Emo. And I was like, you know what? That sounds great. So it's an interesting space. Yeah, it's exciting. That's just my input, I guess.
Okay.
I think I would agree with Nick in saying that it is alive and it's kicking pretty hard right now. I mean, you see all the bands from like the early 2000s, from Paramore, My Chemical Romance, making these comebacks. And I never would imagine, Paramore is amazing. I never thought they would be playing, big arenas around the country and worldwide.
Yeah.
But I don't know, distance makes the heart, whatever that saying, go fonder. And I'm glad that we're, a part of the scene and trying to make a name for ourselves. But yeah, I think we're in a good spot now with, pop punk.
Okay. So you guys, often talk about like mental health, ADHD, social issues. So what's the meaning on those like themes and topics? Like, does it hold like a big meaning for you talking about those things? Or is it something you guys write because it's close to, your family or friends? Or is it personal, what is it called? Experiences. Yeah, sorry.
I remember talking about this with somebody else too, and I think it was like a byproduct of like going through the pandemic and just being in a different headspace. And it was just like all these like songs and like emotions were just like kind of built up, and it all just kind of came out in the music. And it definitely has some like heavy themes on social issues and like mental health and stuff. And like I think it's important to use like what little platform we have for like the awareness of it, I guess. Like, like it's okay to not be okay and all that type of stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the topics that helps, the emo music or the pop punk be different from other genres, from us like pop or funk, things like that. Usually don't talk about those things. It's always good to have this genre to be able to express those feelings and have that like side of yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So talking about mental health is one of the ways to normalize it. If you feel comfortable sharing, have there been instances where your mental health has affected your performances or creative process, and how do you guys navigate those moments?
I feel like and it's not like an everyday thing, but like usually you feel like a certain mood when you write music or something. And like there's been a lot of times where I write a song and I'm like, oh, that was like an emotion I felt in not a long time that just kind of like came through in this song. And like it feels therapeutic, honestly, to like deal with it in a creative way.
Yeah.
And I think even when we like get together and vibe on music, it feels like when we we don't always have good days, hence the song No Bad Days. Like there'll be times we're trying to write stuff and like I don't know, maybe like we get frustrated with something, or like something about it just doesn't work, and then it's always like or maybe like two members like it, another member doesn't, and like we kind of revisit it later on, and then like just wait for like a different mental perspective to tackle the music. And sometimes it's good to give it that space.
Do you guys ever, if one of you comes up with some lyrics and they're kind of, talking about those topics, do you ever ask each other like, are you okay? Like, how do you come up with this or something?
There have been some times, I mean, Zach is the sole, lyric writer for the band. And I've heard after, deciphering the lyrics and like thinking about it, I feel like there have been times where I was like, where did you get the inspiration to write that line from? And he's witty in writing these songs, so I give him a ton of credit.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I know like, I can trust these guys with anything. So like I know they look out for me the way I look out for them, and vice versa. So it's just a part of being in a band. It's like being married to two other dudes. One of them being my brother.
Yeah, you're married to your brother, Zach? Is that what you're saying?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting topic.
Nick's denying it. He does not want to be married to his brother.
In all seriousness, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but a good point to bring up is that Zach and I make a really great like part and counterpart in a musical sort of arrangement. I mean, songwriting is not really my strength, or lyric writing. I was always more interested in I took guitar lessons. I took music theory as an elective in college. I just strive to be like the best I can be at what I do. And the dynamic that we have, I guess like it works really well. People seem to like it. The live shows have been going fantastic. So that's just my perspective on some things. Sorry if the question's a little out of order, but
no, that's fine. Yeah. So what is it like to be on a band with a brother? And what is it like to be in a band with two, siblings, or on the other side? Like, how's the dynamic? Do you guys maybe feel like, because, Zach and Nicholas are, siblings, do you, Aaron, feel like maybe they're closer, or how's that dynamic over there?
Yeah, I think when Nick joined the band full time, I can tell, first you could tell that they feed off each other in a way, but there have been times where they disagree on a part, and
We butt heads.
of course, where they butt heads, and of course, you don't want any sibling relationship to be ruined, but they push each other, to learn new ways of, figuring out a song, figuring out a certain part. You can see the dynamic is very interesting, and I think at the end of the day, they've grown up with each other their entire life. They're very familiar in how each other operate, so they will tend to each other's needs and how they process one thing and what they expect to get out of each other. So it's been nothing but filling to witness that firsthand.
Hell yeah.
Okay. And so what are some of the like major challenges and struggles you guys have faced as a band?
One funny trick answer. One funny incident is our van breaking down, and I guess like that boils down to just us being an independent band at the moment. And so like we are self-funding everything that we do with this album, which in a way it's like scary but exciting at the same time, because it feels like we're starting our own kind of company, label, whatever you want to call it. Like yeah, it's exciting but scary at the same time.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. Zach got to it because that's gonna make a great story, forever. Being broken down like 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, near the Mall of Georgia, I guess, with a show, that unfortunately we couldn't make it to, a couple states away in the Carolinas. But, great learning experience. And, just going out and doing these short runs on the road. Yeah, I guess that really that'll test your mettle as a group.
Okay.
Agreed.
So do you guys do technically everything for the band? Do you guys work in the production, mixing, mastering? Do you guys hire people? How do you guys do that?
So that's our buddy Tyler Sky. He does like the music end and like the production, the recording, like him and his studio partner, Sean Harper, who owns Hilson House Studios. They were the ones like behind getting our sound for this album, and like a lot with like they helped us a lot with like the engineering and the recording on that side. But like that stuff we do a little bit of, but not like enough to make it sound as good as they can make it sound.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've slowly, over the years of being in a band, you make these connections, you communicate with different people. And we've built a pretty good team from graphic designers, music engineering, and recording. I mean, some things we handle on our own. Zach has become a great graphic designer in his spare time, trying to make edits and all that. He's shaking his head. No, he's shaking his head, but he has come a long way, and I give him a ton of credit for that. Handling inventory on his own as well. I try to help manage our website, try to keep that up and running. And we've slowly built a great team, and we're grateful for everybody, helping us out.
For sure.
Okay. How do you guys deal with social media? Because nowadays it's so, like
it's
you have
demanding.
to be active. You have to do so
very
many
demanding.
things.
I had no idea it was like this. Mostly Zach, like 98% Zach. And that's like a job in itself. Now I understand, why obviously everyone who can afford to is like, all right, I'm going to hire someone to run this, because it's, like an 8 to 10 hour like work day if you want to do everything yourself.
Yep, it is a job for sure, and it's very demanding. And I know a lot of musicians make the argument that it cuts into their creative time because they're trying to make content so often to push their music. And like it's such a double-edged sword, because you need to make content nowadays for people to discover you, because everyone else is doing it. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how long this lasts, especially like the huge TikTok thing. Like
yeah, it's an interesting time.
Zach does handle a lot of the TikToks and the video creation side of things. And it's just like, you post it on TikTok once, but maybe throw it on Facebook, throw it on YouTube Shorts. There's just so many different platforms nowadays. And this is where I feel old talking about it, because, I thought 10 years ago, I know everything about all social media, websites, and, what's popular and what's not. Now, a few years later, I feel old because I can't hang with it anymore. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't even understand how people even used to like book tours and sell tickets like in the 1990s, like before the internet. At this point, it just seems like so normal to like what we do. Like if you want to contact a promoter and stuff, obviously it's going to be through some kind of social media or email. And it's just like, it blows my mind. I'm like, how did bands used to do this again? I'm not old enough to remember that, I guess.
Just like phone calls all day. I feel like people just calling people, hey, get my people in here at this time.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I feel like it's even hard to keep up with everything that, people you follow are posting. Because it's like, oh, yeah, I saw what they posted on Instagram. And then people are just like, okay, did you see what they posted on TikTok? And it's like, no, what else did they post there? Like, how many
Yeah.
how many more things am I missing? How many things are happening?
Sometimes you have to post things like 2 or 3 times for people to see it, because
Yeah.
you post it once and sometimes it doesn't go through the system the way you want it to and people don't see it. And it's like, okay, do I be annoying and post it again? Or is it what I have to do to get people to even know that it exists?
Yeah. I mean, I remember, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 years ago when we just had YouTube. And I remember, seeing a lot of bands just posting, these like vlogs on stuff like behind scenes or whatever. I remember, watching videos of like Paramore and then meeting fans and all this thing. And you were like, oh, this is so cool. But now it's like too much.
I understand that completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, because there's so much content, it like loses its value. Like okay, I do the same thing with Blink-182 because they're my
Mhm.
favorite band. Like I watch all their like behind the scenes videos. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then like every band now, it's like we're doing this right now. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to share every aspect of my everyday life to be a
Yeah.
musician, and it kind of like ruins like the mysteriousness of it in a way. But like
Hmm.
it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah. What do you guys think it's the biggest challenge as a band to grow in the current music industry?
Yeah, I think just like it seems like if you're popular on TikTok, that's all anybody cares about anymore. That's kind of how I feel. And that's like a hard thing to do sometimes for like everybody, but that's just, I don't know. I don't know if that's 100% true. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love making music. I
Mhm.
love making different forms of art, like any like merch, sticker, whatever. Like that excites me.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy.
I feel like the biggest challenge with the way the industry or everything works now is, as fully independent artists, it comes to a point of how much touring are you willing to do while still having a job besides being in a band? And kind of what Zach was alluding to earlier, how much content are you willing to post on platforms? And, we've come into a situation recently where we were like, should we make a full length music video and post it on YouTube? When what's so much more popular is like this professionally done micro content on TikTok and whatnot. And yeah, it's a tough time to try to come up, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think I've seen a lot of people, have one song being popular on TikTok, and then people, they get a lot of plays or a lot of people using their sound. But then when it comes to a show or a concert or whatever, they don't sell half the show because people
Yep.
only heard that one song that was popular. And I feel like it's getting harder for bands to have that actual engagement.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's complicated. Or it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I really love this band. And then everyone is like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I love this band. But in reality, they love that one song that was
Yep.
playing on TikTok.
And that's the thing. You need fans that are engaged with your entire career to make a living or, to successfully and financially support it. And like, we're thankful to be getting to a point where we have some people that we know like fully support us and what we do. Like at our last show, somebody said like, oh, you guys are my new favorite band. And I was like, thank you so much. Cause it means a lot.
Yeah. So, do you guys have shows coming up? What's coming with the album? What's happening? What else are you guys doing?
Yeah, we got a show this weekend. We're going to New York. Then we've got a couple shows throughout the summer. The album comes out June 30th, so that's right around the corner. And we're
Yeah.
trying to plan some other dates that we've yet to announce. Trying to hit some cities we've never hit before, go to different parts of the country that we've never been to, and get out there to play those shows because we can see through Spotify like, oh, we have fans over there. We
Okay.
got to get out there. We got to play to these people. So I think that's the
Mhm.
most important thing with this album.
Okay. What are some places that you guys are excited to be able to go to and play or something?
I think for me, I always enjoy. We've gone down south a lot in the last few months, and it's always nice hitting new territory, new regions. You get to explore a bit. I know Atlanta and the Carolinas I enjoy singing. And I think for the future, I think I'm particularly excited to maybe try going out Midwest to see, what's going out there and see if it's alive and kicking.
Have you guys played any shows in California?
Not yet.
Not
yet. Any plans?
In the works. We got some things in the works. Nothing announced officially, but we're trying to get out there for sure.
Okay.
We're gonna play specifically. We're gonna play only our song "Fuck California," and that's
it. We played that for the first time live on Saturday night of this past week, and as an aside, after it was done, I said, "Gosh, I wonder if they're gonna like that." If we go out there, and thought it was comical, but yeah.
I thought that was interesting. When I first got like the email with the new song "Fuck California," and I was like, "Oh, interesting."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to hear this song. I don't know how to feel about it. But I did, and I think it's actually a good song.
Sweet.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I actually liked it, and I added it to my like songs. But it's interesting to see that you guys playing that out here.
That's okay. Got it. Yeah. It's not a heavy-handed attack by any means. We have a cousin who went to graduate school at Stanford. I'm sure it's a very nice place, but it's a fun song with high energy, and I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So keep us updated if you guys do come down here to California. Let us know. I'll try to go. I don't know. I think it'd be fun to see you guys live. So I have one last question. You guys can either answer as a band or each one can answer individually, however you want. So the last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
My answer would be, I guess, like my entire musical journey as a person. Like, I can't name any one album specifically, just like anything that's like affected me that led me to start the band with my friends and my brother, and just like I feel like my life kind of revolves around making music. So I think that in itself just makes sense to me to answer that question.
Okay.
That's a difficult question, Nick. You got anything? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's like there wouldn't be time for me to mention enough albums and records, but I would just say right now, my favorite local independent radio station that tries to play up and coming artists that I listen to almost, every day throughout my life when I'm driving places. That's kind of the soundtrack of my life. I'll just shout them out. 88.5 WXPN.
What?
My answer is going to be kind of cheesy in a way, but I'll say our upcoming album, Suburban Dictionary, because of the reasons, I tend to stress out about a lot of things. And the actual ender on the song, the last song, it's called All Right, and the lyrics are, everything's going to be all right. And I really got attached to that for some reason, just because at the end of the day, I try to come down from that stress level and realizing life's not that bad. Everything's going to be all right.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming to the Soundtrack of Our Lives. We really appreciate you taking the time, sharing with us. Before we finish, do you guys want to share anything else? Social media, information, anything else?
Yeah, Suburban Dictionary comes out June 30th on all streaming platforms. We have merch for sale over at friendcircle.com. Be sure to follow us on our social medias. Instagram is, our handles are at Friend Circle for pretty much everything, TikTok, across the board. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you
guys. Have a good week.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah. You too. Take care.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
See ya.
Okay. Thank you, Friend Circle, for coming and talking to us. It's been a pleasure. We are so excited to see everything you are creating. And for our listeners, don't forget to check them out and make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at STL Lives Podcast. Thanks for joining us.